Is there any fly keyword? It's got fly! It's got fly! So, Necron's got a faction focus release from Games Workshop on the Warhammer Community website. I reacted to this release in a live stream, and today I've clipped and edited that live stream down for your viewing pleasure. I hope you enjoy it. It's coming right up.
Necrons!
Nick speaking, and welcome to this live stream. I'm very excited. The Necron Faction Focus community post has just gone up, and we are going to take a look at it together. I think those reanimation protocols suck. Well, I haven't even looked at them, so let's have a look, because I wanted to do this live to get a real reaction of all of these new cool rules. So I think it's time to do it. Reanimation protocols. It's nice that we're getting this as one of our Necron preview rules. It gives us an idea of how this army is going to work. If your army faction is Necrons, at the end of your command phase, each unit from your army with this ability activates its reanimation protocols and reanimates D3 wounds each time such a unit reanimates a wound. If that unit contains one or more models with fewer than their starting number of wounds reanimating, select one of those models. That model regains one lost wound. If all the models in the unit have their starting number of wounds, but that unit is not at its starting strength, one destroyed model is returned to the unit with one wound remaining. Once such a unit is at its starting strength and all of its models have their starting number of wounds, nothing further happens. The ability is an old friend to Necron players, but it's now simpler and more reliable than ever. Okay, I just read it. I don't necessarily think it was simple straight off from the first read. There's nothing better for any self-respecting overlord than to look on an opponent's face when the limbs are reattached. True. Okay, that's what they're going to say about it. So, obviously we no longer have to roll on a 5+, which I suppose is good. However, it's done at the end of your command phase, so not after every attack. It looks like we can do it even if we get mortal wounds. So I suppose from many points of view it is simpler. But yeah, you reanimate D3 lost wounds. My first thoughts was it definitely seems simpler. Doesn't seem quite as good. It's interesting. What do you guys think? That's what I think. It sucks not after every completed melee or a unit or shooting. It's much more reliable, always works regardless of why they died. True. And it's nice and simple. True. Regain wounds first, then bring models back. I think it's going to be overall definitely easier to grasp and play. What about living metal? I guess they combined it. It seems like it, unless living metal is another thing as well. I think RP is okay. The question is, do we have any other skills that bring the models back? Yeah, hopefully we will have other ways to bring them back still, like obviously ghost arcs, etc. Let's hope so. Anyway, let's continue. We might get some more glimpses. While a Necron's character model is leading this unit, each time a model in this unit makes an attack, add 1 to the hit roll. Okay, so does that mean that we're not going to have My Will Be Done anymore? Maybe this is how you get that +1 to hit roll. This is on top of any other abilities that your leaders give your bodyguards. You'll want to make sure that you've got plenty of characters hanging out with some metal minions to really make the most of this. Okay, GW, can you please make sure our characters are well priced in terms of points, because you know they're quite expensive, our characters, let's face it. I know it's interesting, it says on top of leaders, so we're going to have obviously auras probably from the leaders, and then you get the command protocols as well, so that could be quite useful. Okay, unit spotlight. It is a monolith. Okay, now this is quite small writing with my varifocals, bear with me. This model gains 4 Gauss flux arcs, can be replaced with 4 death rays, so that's the same. This is equipped with 4 Gauss arcs and a particle whip, the same. And you can just take 1, of course. So movement 7 inches, so it's reduced in movement. Is there any fly keyword? It's got fly! It's got fly! Okay, thank God for that. Movement 7 inches, toughness 14, very nice. 2+ save, Wounds 20, so less wounds, but hopefully there's going to be less damage around. Leadership 7. That's quite high, but maybe that's just because it's a vehicle. And we've got our 8 for objective control. Anyway, let's have a look. The particle whip is 3d6 attacks, hitting on ballistic skill 3, strength 8, -1, 2 damage. Gauss flux arcs, 3 attacks, and strength 6, -1, 1 damage. And the death rays are strength 12, -4, d6 +1. Okay, GW. So we're guaranteed at least 2 damage. Slightly better, I suppose, than a flat d6. Deadly demise, d6. In the reinforcement steps of your movements phase, you can select one Necron's infantry unit from your army that is either in reserves or on the battlefield. If you select the latter, remove that unit from the battlefield and place it into reserves. That unit is then set up anywhere on the battlefield that is wholly within 6 inches of the model and not within engagement range of any model. That unit cannot declare a charge. Okay, so you can move a unit. That's pretty decent. On the battlefield, 6 inches gives you a little bit more range. Yeah, 3d6 whip, but it's weaker. Everything is weaker. Right, let's have a look at damage. 1 to 3 wounds remaining. Whilst this model has 1 to 3 wounds remaining, subtract 4 from its objective control characteristic, and each time this model makes an attack, subtract 1 from its hit roll. Okay, and that's it. What about in close combat? Melee, yeah, here we go. Port of Exile, melee, 6 attacks, the same. Hitting on 2, strength 8, -3, and 3 damage. Does that mean it doesn't auto-hit now? Because it used to before, didn't it? But even so, it hits on 2s. That's not too bad. Where is the point cost? The point costs are not being revealed yet, so I don't think that will come until the actual release of the edition. Devastating wounds does mortal wounds equal to the damage on a wound of a 6. Right, the Necron Warriors. And I've gone straight to it. Leadership. Leadership 7, I can't believe that. Honestly, I thought we were going to be really good on leadership for Necrons. That is quite bad. Movement 5 inches, toughness 4, 4 plus save, 1 wound, objective control 2. So let's have a look at the Gauss Flayer. Lethal hits, great. So basically auto wound on 6s to hit, which is great. That's good, that's what we needed. Rapid fire 1, ballistic skill 4, so still strength 4. No AP. They did say that guns were going to drop an AP. 1 damage, and then the Gauss Reaper is also lethal hits, 12 inches. It's not rapid fire. 2 attacks, strength 5 and -1. So pretty much the same as what we had before, but we've dropped an AP blip, and we've got lethal on there, which arguably is one of our stratagems that we had. Their number is Legion. Each time this unit's reanimation protocols activate, it reanimates D6 wounds instead of D3 wounds, unless it is in range of an objective marker you control, in which case it generates D3 plus 3 wounds instead. Now that is good. Absolutely, that's nice. Keywords: infantry, battle line, and Necron Warriors. Their number is Legion. Makes the most of reanimation protocols. They just keep coming back, forcing your opponent to wipe them out entirely, which they may well be able to do, because don't forget, reanimation is now done in the command phase. So you have to wait a whole turn. Ouch. Weapon spotlight. I can see straight off this is the Doomsday arc. Fingers crossed. We might recommend the Doomsday Cannon. Okay, GW. Blast heavy, okay, 72 inches, attacks, D6 plus 1, so a minimum of 2, hitting on 3, strength 15, so yeah, that's pretty good. You're going to be wounding most things on 3, potentially on 2s. AP -4, so we've lost a blip of that, which we knew about. And damage. There is a Star Guard. Damage 4. We'll take that. I think we will take that. I would have liked 3 plus D3 just to have that chance of getting a little bit more damage, but a fixed 4 damage is very nice indeed. And whilst we have random attacks still, at least we've got that +1. Range 72 inches. Yes, very long. Overwhelming obliteration. In your movement phase, if this model remains stationary until the end of the turn, its Doomsday Cannon has the Devastating Wounds ability. Excellent. So yeah, that's really good then. That's useful. This impossibly advanced energy weapon delivers a Mighty Strength 15 blast. Plus, if your Doomsday arc stays stationary, the Doomsday Cannon gains a Devastating Wounds ability, allowing it to toss out mortal wounds that bypass invulnerable saves and spread its damage around. That is just so good. Playing against orcs, it pretty much always gets a 5+ save, which it does the WAR, 5+ invulnerable save, sorry, and then just shrugs off my big weapons, so that is useful. Mortals on 6s and hitting on 2s if you don't move. Indeed. The Void Dragon. Spear of the Void Dragon. Strike. Anti-vehicle +2. So against vehicles, basically hits on 2s by the looks of it. In melee, 5 attacks. Weapon skill 2+. Strength 12. -3 AP. And D6 +2 damage. Okay, so maybe GW have been listening. We're getting a little bit less randomness. Sweep, melee, 10 attacks, weapon skill 3, strength 8, -1 AP, 2 damage. Before selecting targets for this weapon, select one of the profiles. Now I wonder about the Nightbringer though. Stratagem, Spotlight, Hungry Void, 1 CP. The Necron strike with data augmented accuracy. Their murderous attacks is inescapable as the killing cold of space. When, fight phase, target 1 Necron's unit from your army that has not been selected to fight this phase. Effect. Until the end of the phase, add 1 to the strength characteristic of melee weapons equipped by models in your unit. In addition, if a Necron's character is leading your unit, until the end of the phase, improve the armor penetration characteristic of melee weapons equipped by models in your unit by 1. So effectively we're getting the protocol, Novok protocol, but it's in a CP and it's just 1 unit, and you need to have a character leading the unit as well. This is perfect for dedicated close combat units such as Flayed Ones or Scorpet Destroyers, especially if they're led by a Scorpet Lord. Let's hope the Scorpet Lord gets some cool rules too then. It just goes to show that whilst Necrons might have emotionless faces, they are more than capable of getting angry. So there you go. That was our faction focus. A lot to take in, a lot to process. Some good stuff there. Reanimation protocols, interesting change. It overall seems pretty good, but what was holding me back to saying that it seems really good is the fact that it's only done at the command phase stage. I mean, they are right in saying obviously you can get any unit back sort of over time, so that's good. So it's not just a case of you do your RP, if you fail, that's it. That model's dead, it can't come back anymore. At least you can do it like every phase, so it's a little bit like we had in previous editions. But yeah, any good opponent will definitely try to focus down a unit to stop it from reanimating. But then maybe that is also a tactical advantage. Knowing that, then potentially some sacrificial units might be in order to make our opponents shoot at those units to try and whittle them down to 0 for no RP, and that does take firepower away from maybe some of our other key units. So it's going to be really interesting. I definitely think that tactically these new rules are going to change Necrons. I quite like the idea of this monolith now having the fly, being able to teleport units across the table without having to pay CPs, etc. That's pretty good. I'm very excited to see the rest of the data sheets, the data slates, because data cards, whatever you want to call them, because yeah, it's going to be fun. I like these changes, says Martin. Yep, some sacrificial units, spoken like a true overlord. I haven't played Necrons for nearly 20 years to know how to play them. I'm not sure how I'm feeling about this. I think it's got to sink in, and I think the key thing here really is we've got new rules, a new way to play Necrons, new tactics to think about, and a new addition. I mean, the long and short of this is it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. And of course I'm going to be making as many videos as I can about these releases. So I hope you stay tuned for those, and if you're not subscribed yet, then please do so. Make sure you turn on all notifications by hitting the bell button. Right, I have to get off now because I need to pick Necron Girl up from school, so I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for tuning in.
Necrons!